to another episode of Life of a Sim Racer. I have my co-host, Mr. Brandon Six, as well tonight. How are you doing, sir?
Pretty good. Ready to discuss some interesting wrecks here tonight.
Two important things before we get into it. I want to give you a big shout out because you won your first official RSR League race at Auto Club this past Monday. How did that feel, man? How did it feel to finally get that win?
Well, as you know, as I told you, I was quite shaky after that race, crossing the line and getting that win because I was kind of in disbelief. But pretty excited, actually. Hoping for many more this year, and as a team, hoping for hopefully all of us to get a win and lock ourselves into the playoffs.
Yeah, I hear you. I would be ecstatic if we can do that. There's 8 of us, so lots of wins to gotta go after. But we'll take it one race at a time, but we should be able to get it done. And then the other thing is, your birthday was yesterday, so you basically gave a birthday present to yourself for winning the RSR race. Did you have that planned?
It's funny. I'm to the point in age where it's like I don't even really think about my birthday anymore. So after I won the race, I'm like, oh wait, hey, my birthday's this week. I guess it's a gift to myself.
Yeah, definitely a bonus. It's not too many people who can win basically on their birthday week. So basically, congratulations on your win and happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Looking at the race, this race overall, and I guess we'll kind of just get into the overall feelings of the race. I thought the race was actually pretty good. If you take away all the cautions, which some of the wrecks and big wrecks we're going to talk about and kind of discuss and do like a little overview of those. But if you take that away, I thought the race was actually pretty good. As you can see in the background, I mean, maybe the draft package is not correct, but man, if you didn't have to be so focused, especially if you're trying to draft off of somebody, you don't want to hit them in the left rear or the right rear, to make sure you get that pushes at the right time. I know you had ran behind me quite often, so that helped kept me out there. But I mean, overall, I thought the race was pretty good. How'd you feel about the race?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun this week that we race at Auto Club. The draft is definitely a little too strong, and he's dialed back a little bit, but it definitely made for exciting racing. I know the biggest thing I had to watch for instance in this replay was when I get these huge runs off of turn 4 down the front stretch. I actually had to lift going into one to make sure I didn't hit you because I was running that high line, so I could carry a lot more speed into the corner than you. That was the biggest thing I had to watch for. And then honestly, I just hold that high side, try and defend.
Yeah. So I guess, now that we've kind of gone over the overview of how we kind of felt the race win and as a whole, I guess we can go ahead and dive right into how specifically the race went for you. Again, as I said earlier, big win for you, your first win with the RSR series. So, overall, how did the race play out for you? Did it go as expected? Did you have any problems? I remember for Daytona, you had a problem with your pit box not showing up. Did that happen again? Overall, how'd it go?
The race actually went sort of smoothly. Honestly, I didn't get the qualifying that I wanted. I actually was a little nervous because I got super tight in my qualifying run, and I actually thought I was going to miss the race based off how bad it was. But luckily, it was still fast enough. I think I started like 30th, which is kind of scary with the way this draft package is. Most guys, we had a bunch of early wrecks early on. One on lap 3 that was literally right in front of me, and I'm pretty sure I thought it was going to end my race. And then there was also, I think, one other incident that was pretty close for me as I was working my way up through the field, and that was down the backstretch on I think the third caution of our night. But for the most part, it went after that, it went really smoothly. Especially once I got towards the top 5, I kind of just chilled. As you see in this replay, I tried to run that middle to high side, just holding off the bottom, just because the draft was so strong, getting those big runs off the top side. And then luckily we had this long green flag run, which I kind of was hoping it would stay green to the end, because I think it would have definitely made it a lot easier on you and I for sure for the finish, because we were definitely catching Kevin and shoot, who was the other one?
It was Kevin and Eberhard who we were having our biggest
Eberhard.
battles with.
Yeah, because I remember them taking 2 tires, and I think they took a little less fuel because we didn't need a full tank. They were out there for like 4 seconds, but we were mowing them down. But then we had that caution, and then it was basically just in caution fest to the end, and there's just holding on a second because I wanted to wait and make my move if I could on you until like the last lap, because the draft is just so strong. I feel like as a leader, you're sort of a sitting duck. So, but yeah, we had those green white checkers. I think we had 2 of them, and finally one went green enough that I got my big run down the front stretch and drove it way down in turn 1. I actually thought I was going to wreck the thing, and got clear, got a little push from you down the back stretch, and I just had to block Kevin there at the last second, entering 3, and got my first win.
Yeah, watching you get your first win was bittersweet. I will say, I know you have been trying to win in this league, whether it's this league or I'm sorry, this series, or the winter series that they run with the Xfinity car, which you were close there a couple times as well. I think you were close even last season at Vegas, I believe, or maybe that was Xfinity car. I can't really remember, but yeah, I mean it's like I said, it's bittersweet, and I guess I'll go into my horrific race. I'm gonna make it short because I'm still having some personal feelings from it. You know, I basically dominated the damn race. To be completely honest with you, I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. I dominated this damn race. I led the most laps. I stayed up front the majority of the race, and basically I got to the end after cautions and green white checkers, and I felt like I did everything right. If 6 had got in front of me, then that was fine. I was going to push him to the win. It wasn't really, of course I want to win, but it wasn't to the point to where I'm like, I have to win this race. It was just, hey, look, I need to stay up front. I want the points. You know, let's take that momentum and go into the next race and kind of see how things go. You know, so that was my idea coming into, you know, this race as a whole. So everything was kind of playing out kind of like I wanted it. Unfortunately, during the green flag pit stop that we had, I necessarily didn't probably do everything I needed to do. I did take 4 tires, but I didn't fill it up. And what I'm learning about this car is that if you don't fill it up, the car will change as far as the feel of how it felt during the whole run if you had it full of fuel. So what ended up basically happening is maybe a green white checker before the last one, coming out of turn 4, coming to the white before the caution came out, I felt the car feel more free than it had ever felt all race long. So I kind of kept that in my mind and was like, okay, I need to be able to adjust for that going into, you know, the next green white checker, which was going to be basically the end for the race. So taking that into consideration, restarted the race, hit my marks, you know, everything was fine. 6 got a run, or I should say a big push from Kevin King, which again I'm expecting that because I'm the leader. I'm more than likely a sitting duck. I could have blocked 6, but I felt like if I did that, then that would have given Kevin King or Daniel Eberhard the chance to get a run on us, put us at a disadvantage, and neither one of us wins the race. So I said, okay, I'll just go ahead and push him. But again, going into 4, the exact same thing happened, except for I felt like it was maybe exaggerated, maybe times 2, where the car got loose coming off of the corner. I tried to straighten it up, but I didn't want to slam on brakes because I didn't want it to go straight into the wall. So it was more of like just letting off the throttle and just trying to control it. And we'll show it at the end of it. But unfortunately, I tagged the wall and came down and took out Eberhardt on, coming out of 4, going to the checker. So I not only lost my chance of finishing in the top 5, but I also lost points. I got penalties and a bunch of other stuff. So that race definitely had me at a point to where when I got off the sim, I literally felt down. I didn't even sleep very good that night because in my mind I'm trying to replay what exactly I could have done right. But I think I have some ideas now, but overall this race still stinks. Overall, again, so the race is, as I stated earlier, the race was good. Minus the mistake that I made at the end, which is what I didn't need to happen. I thought it was, like I said, it was good for me. I mean, racing hard against Kevin King, Daniel Eberhardt, Danton was up there. Matt Danton was up there a little bit. I think he got some damage or got into a wreck, so that's how he got put in the back. But overall, I thought it was a good race.
I think from a team aspect, the race was good and bad. I think half our drivers finished in the top 10, and unfortunately the other half not so well, either caught up in wrecks or whatever it may be. I think we're split up into team 1 and team 2. I think team 2 actually made up some good points this week. Trying to close back in on team 1, make it a closer battle. But yeah, team-wise, like I said, it's mixed feelings for me because obviously there was a bunch of us that did really well, and other half unfortunately just caught up in bad situations.
Yeah. Team 1, which is basically me, Nick Silver, Sean Casto, Chris Rabel, we basically all wrecked or got caught up in somebody's wreck. So it was a bad showing for us. Team 2, which is Brian Chambliss, Brandon Six, Michael Johnson, and William Smith. I think the three of the 4 of you guys actually finished in the top 10, I believe. So you guys had a great showing. But even though the team is split up, and I still look at the team as a whole. And there are some things that we can work on together as a whole to get better. I'm hoping that the next track at Vegas, we see a little bit better showing by all of us together. But we'll see. Vegas doesn't necessarily feel like this same setup. Some of us tested it earlier this week. So it does feel a little bit different. It does feel like you can drive the car a little bit harder. For Auto Club here in the run, like we're running in the background, it was on edge. So so we'll see. High hopes that we can get it done and get another win. But when you got competitors like Kevin King, Eberhardt, Andrew, unfortunately my mind is blank. I can't think of anybody. Agnell Phillip. Those guys are right now the fast guys. Shoot, I think even Agnell got another pole for this race. I think that's 2 poles for him back to back. So, if he gets luck, I think he's going to be another huge competitor we're going to have to really fight hard against. But overall, like I said, it was for team wise, I would say okay. So that's some stuff that we definitely need to work on as a whole. So we did have a question that came in from Mr. Matt Marr. His question was, and I think Six, I think you'll be the perfect person to answer this. Is he wanted to know what the difference was between the Gen 6 and the Gen 7 Cup car in iRacing.
There's definitely a lot of differences, but we'll just touch on, I guess, the main ones. But the big one is the bigger horsepower for these tracks. We went from the 550, I think, to 670, which has definitely made the racing better for the most part. The lack of side force, I think, is the big one that we're seeing people struggle with, which is what we saw here at Auto Club, with people overcorrecting, as we'll see later on. The bigger tires, which has that shorter sidewall, you actually have to build some heat into these tires. Otherwise, it's just very unsteady to drive. The other thing is the rear diffuser. Rear diffuser is a big key to this car. That just means the rear of the car needs to be planted. I mean, basically scraping the track to make as much downforce for the car. That kind of makes up for the lack of side force that we have. The shorter spoiler, not too big of a deal, because like I said, we added that rear diffuser, which picks up the slack. We had the bigger fuel cell. Went from 18.7 to 20 gallons, so a little extra gallon, not a big deal. We have the front splitter opening, and that's just there for air to get underneath the car, since we literally just have a flat under panel. So air just goes under there nice and smooth, and then goes out the rear diffuser to create that downforce for us. And then the final thing is bigger brakes. And unfortunately, the way they are in iRacing right now, they're not that great. So hopefully that changes soon.
Well, thank you for the clarification. That's a lot of stuff coming from the Gen 6 to the Gen 7. Quite a bit of stuff that has changed. And as we go over over some of these cautions that we're about to go over here, you're gonna see there's a huge difference, and it's a challenge, even for the most talented people in this series. Even in the NASCAR iRacing Coke series, there were people self-spinning coming off the corners. So this car is very challenging, but it is something that we've been asking for. We've been wanting something that was harder to drive, something where we can actually showcase our talent and show what we can do. Now, again, the car right now in iRacing isn't perfect. It's definitely some things that probably needs to be maybe edited, or not edited, but tweaked a little bit. Like Six said earlier, the draft probably needs to be tweaked a little bit. But if we can get that done, I think we're gonna pretty much have a spot on as far as what the real drivers are doing in real life and what we're trying to replicate. So thank you, Matt Marr, for the question. And if you're still listening, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you also hit that bell for your notifications. So in this midway, we are going to go into the cautions, kind of do a little overview over what we think, and maybe some things that happen to cause those cautions, and we'll go over those. All right, we have our first caution up. This was, or incident, I should say. This was incident lap 3. Now this is not really like a reaction, so this would mainly be just an overview of what we're seeing and all the craziness that happened on this lap. So I'll go ahead and get it started. So this is a view from Mr. Six as he's driving the 66 Chevrolet Circle B diecast car. So as we stated earlier, this is pretty packed. So this is pack racing. It's really, really close. So this incident that we're about to see is actually one of the biggest wrecks we've seen in quite some time. So as I'm gonna try and slow it down here, as you can see, the 04 here. Yes, I believe it was Braden Whitaker, but so he gets loose here, collects Sam Nieto, bounces off the wall, takes Brian Chambliss as well in the 25, and barely misses both of our teammates, Brandon Six and William Smith. I don't know how the hell they even made it through there. So if we back it up, I'm gonna actually show you a different view from Mr. Six. Actually, one of the craziest views. You want to really see how close he was to getting collected. You'll see Brian Chambliss come back, and by inches, and I mean inches,
I
hit.
know I was clenching in that situation when I saw it happening. I'm like, yep, I am gonna die here.
Yeah, I don't know how exactly you survived, but you did. So I'm happy because you won the race because of it. So that was a good thing. But again, unfortunately, this is something that happened quite often in the race. I don't know if it's just a lack of practice or just the way that people are still kind of reliving how the old car was, which if you overcorrected it when it got loose, a lot of times you can save it. You can't really do that these days. You kind of either have to lock it down and just pray that you don't get hit, because at any point once that car begins to yaw, which is basically when the rear end is coming around ahead of the front end of the car, then that usually means you're already breaking tires and you're along for the ride. So
that's where I was elaborating with the lack of side force that we have now. Unfortunately, we were so used to like the last gen car where we had so much side force that when it stepped out, it was like a parachute. I mean, it basically recorrected itself. Where this, there's just nothing to lean on. So when it steps out, you're relying on mechanical grip. And a lot of times, unfortunately, when it grips, it basically immediately turns dead right. And it happens so fast that you're just not going to react to it quick enough.
Yeah, because I mean, you can literally see the 04 is he saved it, but you're not really saving it. You're mainly just upsetting the tire. So you're just at that point, like as I stated, you're just along for the ride.
Yeah, it's a hit or miss. Like if you want to guarantee yourself to like not die in this situation as that person, you almost basically just have to hold the wheel left and just lock it down. He probably would have just slid through the grass and would probably came out of that situation clean and would have been able to continue on the race.
Yeah. Wrong place, wrong time. Definitely. All right, we are going to move on to the next one, which would be lap 16. All right, so we are back. For again, this would be lap 16 caution or accident. We're gonna ride along with Mr. Brandon Six. He at the time. Now, actually, cliff note. You actually started in the back.
Yes.
What position did you start again?
I started 30th. Like I said, I had a really bad qualifying position, so I got to see some of these big wrecks here early on, and luckily I dodged 2 of them here.
Yeah, definitely. Which was an understatement. So all right. Here is his view. Going into turn 1. So, with the 6, you want to go through and tell us what you're seeing.
Yeah, I mean, here I was going to the high side, just riding, biding my time, trying to save some tires, and then next thing I know, I see him starting to wreck. I immediately hit the brake, trying to decide where I need to go. I find a hole, start picking up the throttle a little bit, and next thing I know, I see Nick Barr come flying by me. I'm like, oh god, I'm gonna die. And luckily he had an opening that he was able to get by me, since I was running a lot slower at that point, with me heavy on the brakes at that moment.
Yeah, that looked pretty crazy. I mean, some of these wrecks, man, it's just like, holy crap. Like,
well, and unfortunately, we're so packed up that if someone loses it, it's going to take out probably a good 5 cars at least.
Yeah, I think that was Rhett McBride, who is... Wow. Oh, wow. Yeah, that sucks. You know, yeah, that's...
Ooh, what is hood?
Yeah, that's another wrong place, wrong time. Especially when you basically miss the the first incident, and man, some of these guys, you know, Joseph Tice, I know he's pretty quick as well, even though he already had damage on his front end, on his rear end.
Looks like it started from him.
Yeah, did it?
I think he got loose off the scene.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, it was the guy in front of him. Who was
Okay,
that?
yeah, who? I need to go back and see. Who is that? That
Is that our teammate?
No, this is Nick Cohen. Cohen. Okay, so he gets stuck off the wall, and just unfortunately nobody's gonna use the brakes, you know. So it's just as you still see people still flying through. Yeah, that, you know, it's one of those things. You know, that's actually happened to me before. You know, you overcook the corner just a little bit, getting the throttle too soon. The wall comes up faster than you expected. You tag the wall, you kind of get stuck. Person behind you can't really has nowhere to go, so they run into you, and that's where it starts. So that's an unfortunate incident. Looks like that took out quite a bit of people as well. But you know, it is what it is at that point. You know, get the damage fixed and see where you stack up. So, all right, we are going to move to next one. Looks like it's lap 21. All right, so this is going to be lap 21. We are riding along with Kyle Kamer. This is another big one. Really some hard hits here. So I'll go ahead and play this out. So actually, if you slow it down here, you can actually see the car up ahead. He goes toward the wall, bounces off the wall, grabs Andrew, and Mr. Kyle Kamer is scot-free. without a scratch on him, and calamity is going on behind him.
Yeah, I mean, it's similar to the lap 3 incident that happened right in front of me. Just someone got loose and unfortunately tried to correct it, and a hard impact to that outside wall. And I mean, you saw, I mean, it launched him off the wall into Andrew so fast.
And it looked like DeBarro with another incident person. He's nowhere to go, man. It's just this pack racing is frustrating, you know, because you're getting the draft off the corner. You're trying to, you know, maximize it, but at the same time, you really have to be in your P's and Q's because everybody's getting loose and wrecking, and then it's like, okay, where do I go? Because if I try to make a quick movement, I'm gonna get collected. So it's just a hard decision, and it's difficult to know what to do at that time. You know, you kind of just, first instinct, you know, would be to turn left and get away from it. But if you turn left really hard, then I mean, you can easily self-spin. So it's really rough. But
it's kind of like a mini Daytona, honestly. And we saw it, like you were saying, with turning left real quickly. We saw that last week with me. Turn left too quick, it just loops.
Alright, so again, this is going to be lap 95. We are going to ride along with Mr. Nick Silver. And 6, if you want to go through and, I guess, act if you're Mr. Silver and maybe talk me through it.
Well, as you see here, they get 3 wide here in front of him. He's going to the bottom, and it looks like they're getting actually almost 4 wide here, and all of a sudden, looks like they just get together above him, and unfortunately, Nick, wrong place, wrong time. Not much I don't think he could have did there. We'd have to get more of an outside view to see exactly what happened here, but it looks like just a racing deal. A bunch of cars getting together here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Nick gets a little loose. Comes down to the guy beside him, and then just unfortunately collects a bunch of other cars with him.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's another, I mean, like you said, wrong place, wrong time. Even if you look at it from David Washington's point of view, who's right behind him. I mean, I mean, they're all just so loose. Wow. And David, That's you missed the big one, and then you get hit by the 15-year wreck McBride. That sucks. Unfortunately, Washington has been involved in a couple of wrecks in this race. But it's, as you can see, there's a theme of people just losing it because it's such a new car. It's such a different way to drive and a new way you have to drive it. So it's frustrating.
That's where I was going back to earlier with the tires. I mean, some people, they just need to give it that like extra lap or two, build some heat in the tires, it builds some grip, and then it gets a little bit more stable. But I mean, I understand too. It's the end of a race, and people are trying to really push it.
All right, so this is going to be lap 99. Again, this was only supposed to be a 100-lap race, but because of the overtime, it ended up being 108, unfortunately. But so we're on lap 99, and we're going to ride along with Mr. Matt Danson, who unfortunately has a little mishap.
Yeah, it looks like he's entering into 3 here. He's got Cody to his bottom. Not sure who that is to his outside. They get kind of squeezed, and yeah, that looks like good old Australian internet right there for you. Getting a little netcode.
But
the unfortunate part to this wreck was we were literally like 200 feet from the line to take the white.
Yeah, I agree. It's we were really just trying to end this race, and things just kept happening. So all right, so we are going to move on to 2 more. So the next one is going to be lap 103. All right, so lap 103. We are going to ride along with David Cobb, who basically same stuff, different. It's different corner, except for this is his car. As you remember earlier, he was caught up in another incident. So this is exactly what his car looks like now. Again, we are just trying to finish the damn race. I mean, just a self-spin.
I got no words.
Just David Washington again. I think it's David Washington. It might be Shane Parrish. Their cars are very painted the same. There's no way, no reason why that caution should happen. Yes, again, everybody's just trying to get to the finish, but it's just like, come on. And I'm not harping on them, but I also feel like because this happened, maybe I would have won the race. Maybe not. Probably not, the way how my car was handling at the time. But it was just like another thing to try and get me not to win the race. Now, mind you, while all this is going on, I was actually still leading the race. And I had to restart, I believe, 4 different times to try and restart and win. Of course, the last one didn't work, which we're about to see. But yeah, so, I mean, as we talked about earlier, it's just, this car is very difficult to drive, especially on fresh tires. It is something that we hope that over the season, these guys will get better at it, including myself. As I stated, I'm not, tooting my own horn. I self-spun, and I took somebody out, or a couple guys out too. So, it's a learning process, but when a car looks like that, and it takes out even more people, it doesn't look very good.
As you see, let alone with a clean car, it's hard to drive. I mean, completely wrecked, even worse.
We're going to move on to the last one. Last one is lap 108. Alright, so finally, we are on the last restart. So I got a good restart. I felt like I was, basically just going to do the same thing I have been doing all race long. And just, manage 6, manage Kevin King. But I didn't feel like I got the best restart here. So, I'm just trying to, keep an eye on, okay, well, how close is 6? how close is Kevin King? You know, does Eberhard have a push for Kevin King? Because I was pretty confident he was going to go with Kevin King. He wouldn't go with 6. And when I saw Kevin King get behind 6, I pretty much knew. I was like, well, he's going to go for it. And he did, which he should. You know, his first win, so he should go for it. So I tried to do a wide arc to see if I can maybe undercut 6, but Kevin King was there, so I was just like, well, all right, I'll just go ahead and accept my fate and take home a top 4. You know, that was the goal. So, so pushing him down the straight, I knew I had to push 6 in order for him to try and get in front of Kevin King, which we did that successful. And then coming out of the corner, and actually I will back it up just a little bit here. If you can see, let's see if I can get you guys a better view. If you look at the way how I'm entering the corner, I'm already on that black seam, and that black seam is slippery. But as Kevin King gets closer to me, it almost feels like the rear of the car, if you guys can tell a little bit, I am already loose. The rear end is already trying to kick out. So I am putting tiny bits of counter steer into it, which is turning the other direction, so that way it doesn't do like it's doing right now. And as I feel it catch, I knew it was over. I'm doing my best to try and just tag the wall and keep it up there. Unfortunately, Eberhard is right behind me. It turns me, turns him. We both, you know, are spinning down the track. Unfortunately, you know, it took out a couple other guys as well, which Ross Cato, I apologize to him about several times. It sent Eberhard down pit road, which unfortunately gave him a black flag and forced him to go down 2 laps down. So, one of the things that 6 had asked me, you know, after the race, was, you know, what would you do differently? And as I thought about it, I really don't know what I could have done differently, because I had a feeling a couple laps before that it was going to happen, that it was coming. I just didn't know how to react to it when you're pushing that hard, because I really hadn't had that type of challenge all race. So, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, you'll learn from it, and, you know, like the rest of us, you know, learn from everything you can, especially from this car. Like I said earlier, it's definitely a challenge. So again, that's all the incidents. Quite a few incidents this race. There were actually even more, but a lot of them were just single spins, so we didn't include those.
I'm not even sure where we're at next week. Oh, that's right, Vegas. On to Las Vegas, and obviously that's going to be an interesting race based off the way that setup is, from my understanding. So, obviously this was for the most part, a good week. Definitely for me, but an okay week for the team as a whole. So, definitely looking forward to the rest of the season and what this car has to offer as we learn it.
Thank everybody for, again, taking the time to listen, comment, or even like the videos that we're doing. We're trying to put out more and more content. Don't have a set day as far as when these will come out. We're kind of just winging it, and just when we get to it, we get to it. But eventually we will have set dates. So I got to thank our sponsors, Digital Motorsports, Elwood Designs, Battle Beaver, and Boosted. They all have websites. Go check them out. I'll try to put them down in the link below as well. So again, everybody enjoy your night or day or whatever the time you're watching this, and be safe. We will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.